King Jesus, King Jesus. Okay, hey, the news is reporting that 2 New York City Police Department officers were killed in a Brooklyn shooting. It says the man who executed 2 cops shot his girlfriend in Baltimore, then traveled to New York and bragged on Instagram that he was going to get revenge for Eric Garner and Mike Brown before launching a deadly attack, and finally killed himself. It says that Ismaaiyl Brinsley shot officers in the head on Saturday in Brooklyn at 3 p.m. He had traveled 190 miles from Baltimore, Maryland, where he shot his ex-girlfriend. Officers Rafael Ramos and Wenjiam Liu were eating in their patrol car. Brinsley, 28, then ran to the subway station where he shot himself in the head. He had written on Instagram that he would kill 2 cops in revenge for Garner. Friends of Brinsley told that he was acting strange in the wake of a grand jury trial that refused to indict Eric Garner's police killer. The news says that this is the man who shot dead 2 police officers in an act of revenge for the deaths of Eric Garner and Michael Brown. Ismaaiyl Abdullah Brinsley, 28, shot his former girlfriend in Baltimore County at 5:45 a.m. on Saturday morning, then traveled 190 miles to Brooklyn, where he fired a fatal round of bullets at recently married Officer Wenjiam Liu and the father of one, Rafael Ramos, before turning the gun on himself. According to witnesses, Brinsley walked out of a home with a gun in his hand at 2:47 p.m., crept up behind the officer's patrol car and systematically shot both men in the head through the passenger window. He then walked to the Myrtle Willoughby G-train subway station where he shot himself in the head. It came 2 hours after he posted a picture of a gun on Instagram with a chilling message: "I'm putting wings on pigs today. They take one of ours, let's take 2 of theirs. Hashtag shoot the police. Hashtag rest in peace Eric Garner. Hashtag rest in peace Mike Brown. This may be my final post. I'm putting pigs in a blanket." Tragically, Baltimore police had tried to apprehend Brinsley by alerting the New York Police Department after his morning shooting. But by the time a wanted flyer was issued, his attack was already underway. Officers Liu and Ramos were stationed in a new precinct on Saturday morning as part of a crime prevention strategy to deal with a recent influx of reports in that area. Liu, who got married in October, had served 4 years with the force. Ramos, who had a 13-year-old son and celebrated his 40th birthday on December 12th, joined the New York Police Department in 2012. Both were taken to Woodhull Medical Center immediately, but within hours succumbed to their injuries. One of Brinsley's friends, Alt Smith, spoke in Brooklyn, feet away from the crime scene, to describe how Brinsley had been acting strange in the wake of the Eric Garner grand jury trial. Father of 6, Eric Garner was killed by the New York Police Department officer Daniel Pantaleo, who arrested him for selling loose cigarettes on the street, then held him in a fatal chokehold. The killing provoked global outrage, sparked violent protests across the U.S., and exposed severe racial divisions in New York City. Smith, who was a member of the rap outfit PY Gang with Brinsley, described their recent practices. "We all noticed he was acting strange, different. It was kind of like he wasn't there when you spoke to him. He wasn't saying very much and he wasn't performing. He had a different kind of passion." Another member of the group, Paul Yanni, said Brinsley took part in the recent anti-police protests. Yarny said he posted motivational stuff on Instagram and went to the protests. I think this really came as a shock to a lot of us. He shot his girlfriend this morning and then went to shoot those cops. It's scary to think that's what he was thinking. He arrived at his 29-year-old girlfriend's house in Baltimore City at around 5 a.m. on Saturday morning before shooting her in the abdomen. Detectives are now investigating whether Brinsley was a member of the Black Guerrilla family, a large-scale gang in Baltimore that had been responsible for masterminding criminal plots behind bars. Leaders of the group compiled a handbook that was distributed to members in Baltimore Correctional Center, and the Washington Post reported. Investigators are also examining Brinsley's Instagram account, which was suspended from public view, for clues of a motive. According to NBC, Brinsley, who was armed with a semi-automatic pistol bought in Georgia in 1996, may have been visiting his child, who is based in Brooklyn. Many of his posts reference Eric Garner, who died in a police chokehold on Staten Island, sparking widespread outrage when the grand jury later decided not to indict anybody over the death. A police source speaking to the New York Post said the killings resemble an execution in which the attacker started pumping bullets into the officers. Court documents reveal Brinsley's first recorded arrest was October 1, 2005 for disorderly conduct in Fulton County, Georgia. On December 23, 2005, he was arrested and charged with shoplifting, also in Fulton County. In July 2006, he was held on a $3,500 bond for carrying a concealed weapon and shoplifting with a knife. A year later, Brinsley was booked for trespassing. In June 6, 2011, he was arrested in Cobb, Georgia, for 10 offenses, including criminal damage and carrying a concealed weapon. And finally, in June last year, he was arrested for violating probation in Cobb, Georgia. According to New York Police Department Commissioner William Bratton, Brinsley did not appear to have a fixed abode. The shooting comes at a time of record tensions between the New York Police Department and many of its communities in the city. Widespread protests over the death of Garner and the grand jury's later actions showed huge levels of suspicion and distrust of law enforcement and the justice system. Last week, officers were assaulted on the Brooklyn Bridge, where thousands of demonstrators gathered. It says that Ismaaiyl Brinsley shot and killed 2 New York Police Department officers before committing suicide in Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant neighborhood just before 3 p.m. on December 20th. He's believed to have walked up to the cops' patrol car and opened fire execution style. He shot himself dead on a crowded subway platform. After the shooting, he took his own life. Brinsley, 28, ran into the platform of a subway station on Marcy Avenue and killed himself with a self-inflicted gunshot wound, reports NBC New York. He was taken to Brooklyn's hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Police recovered a silver handgun from his death scene. One witness told the New York Daily News that Brinsley just walked up and shot the cops in the head. Reports say it was a revenge mission for Eric Garner and Michael Brown. Both officers were rushed to Woodhull Medical Center in critical condition after the shooting. Sadly, the 2 officers were pronounced dead just after 5 p.m. December 20th. One of his last Instagram posts include lyrics to the 50 Cent song Green Lantern, "Never had a hot gun in your waist and blood on your shoe. Nigga, you ain't been through what I've been through. You're not like me and I'm not like you. The post included the hashtag Brooklyn's Go Hard, Coney Island. So apparently Ismaaiyl Brinsley is a cop killer, and he's responsible for killing 2 New York City Police Department officers. Ostensibly, he says that the reason why he did it was for the sake of Eric Garner and Mike Brown. That's what's up. He committed suicide.